by the judiciary through increased budgetary allocation. Also, addressing judiciary's human resource constraints through appointment of more judges, and curing the judiciary's acute infrastructure deficit through support of the judiciary's digitization agenda, and also your commitment to support us establish 100 small claims courts, and also courts in all the constituencies and high courts in all the counties as part of your legacy agenda are truly clear of irrefutable evidence that you intend to partner with the judiciary to realize the objective of establishing an efficient and accessible justice system, and for that, we are most grateful. Your hand of support and collaboration to the judiciary could not have come at a more appropriate time. This is given that the report we are launching today, like the previous ones, show that the judiciary is not operating optimally due to significant budgetary, infrastructural, and human resource constraints. We therefore look forward to working with Your Excellency as guided by the spirit of cooperative dialogue and responsibility sharing as envisaged in the Constitution to ensure access to justice for all. The fact that Your Excellency has embraced deepening access to justice as part of your government's bottom-up agenda makes this decisive moment in the history of the Kenyan justice sector. It is a moment that historians will, in future, look back to and identify as a transformative moment when all state organs jointly embarked on the journey of establishing an efficient justice system, which is a key ingredient and enabler for the realization of our national aspiration of social and economic development. In the judiciary, we are currently pursuing a strategic vision that we call social transformation through access to justice. This vision is a continuation of the pioneering judiciary transformation framework instituted by our Chief Justice Emeritus, Wile Mutunga, and sustaining judiciary transformation, which was heralded by my predecessor, the Honorable Chief Justice David Maraga. The thrust of STAJ, as we nickname it, is putting in place a people-centered justice system. We aim to remove all barriers that have hindered access to justice for the excluded, or those you have identified in your policy as being in the bottom of the pyramid. We believe that this perfectly dovetails with the government's agenda. Your Excellency, the reality is that removing barriers to access to justice is a challenge that the judiciary cannot surmount on its own. Therefore, all arms of government should join hands and work together to master this formidable challenge. My call and plea today is that it is time for us to come together to build our judiciary to be a strong and independent institution, an institution where judicial services are truly public goods that are accessible to all citizens, including the vulnerable, who are the most in need of judicial services, but have historically been excluded from accessing justice. Over the last 1 year, Your Excellency, the judiciary has been hard-pressed to work in pursuit of the strategic outcomes identified in the STAJ. The report shows that we have made great strides in ensuring that our justice system is accessible, it is efficient, it is also expeditious and cost-effective as mandated in the Constitution. At the same time, It also offers the nation a glimpse of the vital and urgent areas in which our corrective intervention is still required. Your Excellency, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, during the financial year that we are reporting, 404,000 cases were filed in the judiciary, out of which 257,000 were criminal cases, and 147,000 cases were civil cases. And just to get a glimpse of where these cases came from, 42% of them actually came from 5 counties: Nairobi, Nakuru, Mombasa, Kiambu, and Machakos. These courts recorded a case clearance rate of 94%, where 380 cases were resolved. And that, I think, deserves a clap. A clearance rate of 94% is really good. At the end of the financial year, we had 878,000 cases pending before our courts. And this comprises of 294,000 criminal cases and 384 civil cases. This is an increase by 5% from the previous year. 76% of these pending cases are before the magistrates' courts. Of the pending cases, at the end of the period, 50% of them have been in the court system for over 1 year. This is a 10% decline from the previous year. In pursuit of our vision of ensuring that our justice system is efficient and cost-effective, we pursued a number of game-changing interventions and initiatives aimed at enhancing access to justice and service delivery in the course of the financial year that we are reporting. As a way of expanding the doorways of justice, 11 new ELC courts and 6 new I-court stations were established across the country. I think you need to applaud that. In addition, 2 Supreme Court sub-registries were opened, 5 Court of Appeal sub-registries, and 3 High Court sub-registries were established during this year. These initiatives expanded the footprint of these courts across the country, thereby ensuring easy geographical reach to judicial services by our litigants. Another transformative intervention, Your Excellency, during the year was the establishment of 11 small claims courts and appointment of 25 adjudicators to man these courts. The small claims courts is a revolutionary court that has enabled the resolution of claims below 1 million shillings to be resolved within 60 days in a process marked by informal and rest during the short period it has been in operation. During the year we are reporting, Your Excellency, the Small Claims Court resolved 9,315 cases, thereby releasing Kenya shillings 1.431 billion shillings in the economy. Having witnessed the revolutionary potential of the Small Claims Court over the last 1 year, we project that if we have in place 100 small claims courts operationalized in the country, this will mark a turning point for the efficiency of the justice sector. In fact, if we get adequate support, we think of having a night shift operation, what the governor was talking about, with some adjudicators sitting from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in Nairobi and Mombasa cities, which would be a first for any public sector institution in Kenya and regionally. This will certainly place our country on the path to claiming the top spot in the continent in terms of efficiency in commercial disputes, resolution, hence enhancing the country's attractiveness as a business and investment destination. To expedite the resolution of sexual and gender-based cases, we operationalized a sexual and gender-based violence court at Chanzu. This is part of our tailor-made intervention targeting access to justice for the vulnerable groups in our society, especially the children who are victims of violence. We hope to scale up the rollout of the SGBB courts throughout the country, and we are very, very happy, Your Excellency the Governor, to partner with you within Nairobi to operationalize these SGBB courts, especially where we are trying to build the small claims courts. In addition, we decentralized the political parties dispute tribunal across 7 regions during the period. This tribunal, Your Excellency, received and concluded 198 matters within 1 month of filing. I think we need to appreciate that tribunal. The decentralization of the PPDT and a significant impact on accessibility and expeditious disposal of pre-election disputes adjudication regime during the 2022 electoral cycle. It enabled us to do away with the specter of litigants traveling to Nairobi across the country as it was witnessed during the 2013 and 2017 electoral cycles, where all pre-election disputes were heard and centrally determined in Nairobi. In pursuit of our multi-door approach to access to justice, Your Excellency, the last financial year saw the strengthening and expansion of the alternative dispute resolution mechanism. Our court annex mediation program was expanded to an additional 8 court stations during the year. This means the court annex mediation is now operational in 94 court stations. If you are Christians, you would say amen. This period also saw the referral of 2,245 matters sent to mediation by various courts, and the resolution of 1,918 of the referred matters were resolved. The judiciary in the reporting period launched 3 alternative justice system suites and models that we launched in Kajiado, Isiolo, and Nakuru. Additionally, 10 AJS mechanisms panels were launched in Kajiado County. It is noteworthy that the Kajiado model currently focuses on land-related matters, out of which already we have dealt with 61 and resolved them successfully. These are cases that had been pending resolution with the National Land Commission for a long time. The judiciary also mounted mobile courts in far-flung areas in our continued quest to bridge the geographical distance between litigants and courts. We note, Your Excellency, the average distance traveled by courts to mobile courts location was 90 kilometers, with the farthest being 270 kilometers. We therefore operationalized 5 new mobile courts in the course of the last year. This brings the total number of mobile courts across the country to 57. The total number of cases concluded by the mobile courts during the period we are reporting are 5,220. Your Excellency, you are excited to see our virtual court. Let me speak to what we have done on leveraging on technology. The use of information and communication technology, which we have used to deepen the efficiency of our operations and the delivery of judicial service. We found technological innovations such as virtual courts, hearings to be not only cost-effective to litigants, but also an enabler to efficiency in the service delivery. We concluded the installation of in-court recording solutions in 5 courtrooms in Milimani, another one in Engineer Law Courts. We have also deployed 15 units of video conferencing solution system aimed at facilitating remote trials and cases involving parties or witnesses who are abroad. In addition, the judiciary, in partnership with the Ministry of ICT and Google Africa, connected 163 court stations to the national optic fiber backbone infrastructure, the one we call NOFBI. A further 12 remote court stations will be connected through mobile broadband. We remain acutely cognizant of the unequal access to technologies, limited internet access across the country, and lack of knowledge or ability to use technologies deployed. We are therefore developing strategies and innovations to mitigate the potential of digital exclusion. This includes the initiative to provide e-judiciary services through Huduma centers for members of the public who cannot access internet. Instead of them going to cyber cafes, they can go to the Huduma center and find a judiciary desk where they can do their filing or conduct their hearings. On human resource capital, Your Excellency, it is a truism that performance of the judiciary's mandate is pegged foremost on having adequate and motivated personnel to deliver judicial and support services. In this regard, in collaboration with the Judicial Service Commission, the judiciary employed various modalities to build capacity of our human resource capital. For optimal function, the required judiciary establishment, Your Excellency, is 9,417 members of staff. For us to be operational, to operate optimally, we need 348 judges. We need 1,200 judicial officers. Those are the magistrates and the caddies. We need 650 law clerks and legal researchers to support the work of the judges and the judicial officers, and 7,219 judicial staff. At the end of the reporting period, the employee complement was at 66%. That is 6,182, an increase by 10% from the previous year. Judges were at 49%. Magistrates and caddies also at 49%, law clerks and legal researchers at 27%, and judicial staff at 66%. We need the continued support of the executive and the parliament to address the human resource constraints that are prevailing in the judiciary. The judiciary also made a conscious effort to create a workplace that is inclusive and reflective of the community in which we operate as demanded by the Constitution. Overall gender representation in the judiciary, Your Excellency, female to male, is at the ratio of 49 to 51, signifying compliance with the key constitutional imperatives. I expect you to clap for that. Is providing leadership. Those who are struggling to understand how to bring gender equality in their places of work, they can come for benchmarking in the judiciary. Significantly, Your Excellency, the judiciary believes in the vitality and promise of the youth. 71% of the judiciary employees are between the ages of 26 to 45 years. I and the Deputy Chief Justice are the oldest. We still have a long way to go, including getting judges of the High Court, the Environment and Land Court, Employment and Labor Relations Court in all the counties. We require magistrates sitting in all the sub-counties and adjudicators for our small claims courts across the whole country. Addressing the human resource constraints in this regard is one of the areas where we are seeking the continued support of the executive and parliament. I will also speak briefly on the financial performance. During the reporting period, one of the key achievements was the operationalization of the Judiciary Fund at the end of the judiciary financial year. This followed from a successful consultative process between the Judiciary, the National Treasury, the Central Bank, and the Controller of Budget. The Judiciary Fund account and its operational accounts were opened and activated on July 1, 2022. The Judiciary Fund Committee has been established to oversee budget implementation and to regularly advise the Chief Registrar of the Judiciary on the performance of the fund. The judiciary allocation for the year 2021-2022 was 18.1 billion, out of which 15.9 billion was for recurrent expenses, and Kenya shillings 2.154 billion was for the development budget. This represents about, Your Excellency, 0.6% of the total national budget, and just a small fraction of these resources of what is actually allocated to Parliament and the Executive. We never like to compare ourselves with other people, but when it comes to budget allocation, we are just short of shy of saying that consider the judiciary the same way you consider Parliament. It is also well below the international best practice of 3% allocation of the national budget to judiciaries. Your Excellency's decisive measures to correct and improve this historical underfunding will bring reprieve to millions of Kenyans seeking justice across the country. Many times I've asked myself why we have had to build prefabricated structures on our rooftop on a building that is a national museum. Then I was told there was no money to do better than to just build those prefabs. I wondered why we built a toilet out there. We could have just built a building, but I was told the money that was there could only afford to build the prefabs and build an abolition outside. So we all have to keep walking outside or sometimes even to the hotel because the facilities are not sufficient. On accountability mechanisms, it is important to report to Kenyans that we have rolled out robust accountability performance measurement and complaint handling mechanism in line with the constitutional mandate given to the judiciary, whereby we are supposed to be independent but at the same time accountable. It is notable that in November 2021, we invited the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to undertake a comprehensive judiciary systems audit. This systemic review of the policies, our procedures and practices of the judiciary will definitely identify the avenues and opportunities for unethical and corrupt practices so that the judiciary can work towards eliminating them. Regarding the worrying state of physical infrastructure, the judiciary has formulated a physical infrastructural Marshall Plan that targets to meet the contemporary justice demands by Kenyans. This, Your Excellency, includes a High Court building in counties without such courts, magistrate courts in constituencies without the courts, and 100 small claims courts. We also urgently need to put up a modern Supreme Court building to house the Supreme Court and the administrative headquarters of the judiciary. Your Excellency, we also need a Court of Appeal building to manage the expanded needs of the courts and the Kenya Judiciary Academy. We thank Your Excellency for signaling that addressing these infrastructure concerns constitutes an integral part of your legacy. We will work with you to realize this dream that will revolutionize the delivery of justice in our country. In conclusion, allow me to thank you, Your Excellency, and all our distinguished guests who have graced this occasion once more, for honoring us with your presence and for listening to us. I also thank the team that worked so diligently to prepare the Sonja Report 2021-2022, which was read by my very own indefatigable, energized Chief of Staff, Madam Rose Washuka. I now welcome Your Excellency and distinguished guests to watch a very short video highlighting the contents of the report, followed by a visual launch. I thank all of you and I bless all of you and pray that God will continue to guide us and guide our.
The video, please. May we have the video continue playing? Karibu.
(2021-2022) is a scorecard of the achievements and challenges collectively met by the stakeholders in the justice sector in the 2021-2022 financial year. The report, now in its 11th year of publication, fosters accountability and engagement with the public in line with constitutional imperatives of judicial authority and access to justice. In the year under review, a key highlight was the establishment of the Judiciary Fund, which is enabling the judiciary to fully implement its financial work plans. The social transformation through access to justice vision being pursued by the judiciary is expanding the doorways of justice through the small claims court, which have facilitated resolution of 9,315 cases worth 1.4 billion Kenya shillings during the period under review. Alternative forms of dispute resolution constitute a core component of initiatives introduced to address backlog. Court-annexed mediation and alternative justice systems provided pivotal avenues to resolving disputes, culminating in the first ever National Alternative Justice Conference. Court-annexed mediation facilitated settlement of 66 cases worth 554 million Kenya shillings. On 10th March 2022, to commemorate the International Day of Women Judges, the Chief Justice launched the first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court to address the needs of victims. The judiciary decentralized the political parties' disputes tribunal, significantly reducing case completion and reinforcing internal political party dispute resolution mechanisms. The judiciary is enhancing public trust through vigorous public engagements under a shared leadership model and also continues to leverage on technology. The judiciary has implemented strategies to reduce case backlog through optimal staffing and leveraging technology for the administration of justice. This has resulted in improved service delivery and enhanced public trust. Moving towards a well-resourced judiciary for social transformation through access to justice.
Asante sana. At the end of the function, I am advised that the Honorable Chief Justice has invited us for lunch. So after the national anthem, we will request that all of us proceed to the lunch venue after the end of the function, after the national anthem. And we will have a photo opportunity after that. May we now have the video again play so that His Excellency the President can follow the video. Kindly. Thank you.
The State of the Judiciary and Administration of Justice Annual Report 2021-2022 is a scorecard of the achievements and challenges collectively met by the stakeholders in the justice sector in the 2021-2022 financial year. The report, now in its 11th year of publication, fosters accountability and engagement with the public in line with constitutional imperatives of judicial authority and access to justice. In the year under review, a key highlight was the establishment of the Judiciary Fund, which is enabling the judiciary to fully implement its financial work plans. The social transformation through access to justice vision being pursued by the judiciary is expanding the doorways of justice through the small claims court, which have facilitated resolution of 9,315 cases worth 1.4 billion Kenya shillings during the period under review. Alternative forms of dispute resolution constitute a core component of initiatives introduced to address backlog. Court-annexed mediation and alternative justice systems provided pivotal avenues to resolving disputes, culminating in the first-ever National Alternative Justice Conference. Court-annexed mediation facilitated settlement of 66 cases worth 554 million Kenya shillings. On 10th March 2022, to commemorate the International Day of Women Judges, the Chief Justice launched the first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court to address the needs of victims. The judiciary decentralized the political parties' disputes tribunal, significantly reducing case completion and reinforcing internal political party dispute resolution mechanisms. The judiciary is enhancing public trust through vigorous public engagements under a shared leadership model and also continues to leverage on technology. The judiciary has implemented strategies to reduce case backlog through optimal staffing and leveraging technology for the administration of justice. This has resulted in trust, moving towards a well-resourced judiciary for social transformation through access to justice.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. And there we have it. If we can have the launch moment continue, kindly. Thank you, Your Excellency, sir. There we have it, ladies and gentlemen. The annual State of the Judiciary and the Administrative Justice Report for the year 2021-2022. Tuwapongeze kwa makofi, mabibi na mabwana. Let us appreciate. Thank you very much. As the report is now officially launched. Asante sana. Your Excellency, sir, I am advised that the Judicial Service Act requires that this report be presented, but first transmitted to the two houses of parliament, and that was done this morning. The Act also requires that the report is presented to the people of Kenya. And with your permission, Your Excellency, I will request the Honorable Chief Justice to present the report here to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, on behalf of the people of Kenya. Karibu sana, welcome, Your Excellency. And the second set will be presented to the Honorable Speaker of the National Assembly on behalf of the two houses. Speaker, if you could kindly join me here, kindly. The first copy to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya. Tumpigie makofi wakati anapokea from the Honorable Chief Justice. Speaker kidogo kwanza apate picha ya His Excellency and the Chief Justice handling the report. Your Excellency, I will request we remain there just a bit. The Speaker of the National Assembly, kindly a copy for the Speaker of the National Assembly. And on behalf of Parliament. And now, Asante, I request the Honorable Chief Justice to get a copy and get in between His Excellency the President and the Speaker, and we showcase to the people of Kenya the report just presented for that photo. Asante sana, tuwapigie makofi. Asante sana. I request Your Excellency and also the Speaker to retreat to our seats as the Chief Justice comes and guides the next part of the program.
Thank you very much. Please take your seats. Thank you, Your Excellency. Thank you very much, the Deputy President, the Vice President, and all of us for thus far we have gone. It is indeed now my honor and great privilege to invite the Honorable Deputy President, the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, to come and address us, and thereafter invite His Excellency the President. Welcome, Vice President. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya and Commander-in-Chief of Kenya's Defense Forces, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Honorable Attorney General, Speaker of the National Assembly, all our judicial officers, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Your Excellency, I'm also happy to be here, are you alone? the Honorable Chief Justice said that she has not seen the Prime Cabinet Minister here before. Lady Chief Justice, I've been around your courtrooms for a while in different circumstances. And I say that there is God in heaven. That today, in totally different circumstances, I was having tea in the office of the Chief Justice and being taken around by the Deputy Chief Justice. Your Excellency, the independence of our judiciary cannot be overemphasized. As our leader, as our president, you have told all of us repeatedly that your administration has a commitment to strengthen and protect independent institutions, starting with the judiciary. And your policy direction to all of us, those of us who work under you, has been understood clearly and is being implemented. You have told us that you want the strengthening of independent institutions to form part of your legacy. And I want to assure our judicial officers seated here today in the RUTO administration, none of us, not the president, not I, not those below us, will ever take a telephone and ask you to determine a matter either way or another. That will not happen. And if you come across anybody purporting to speak for the president, tell them to get you something in writing, and they will not. And if they insist and they persist, look for me, then I'll sort it out. We must have an independent judiciary for our country because it is healthy. Your Excellency, I want to take this opportunity on behalf of the people of Kenya to salute the judiciary for having stopped the BBI on its tracks. It was a terrible scheme against the people of Kenya, and all of us had given up. It was being taken down our throats. Everybody was being coerced. Everybody was being persecuted. Everybody was being bribed. But because we have an independent judiciary, all the way from the High Court to the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court, the Kenyan state was preserved through prudent judicial discretion. On behalf of the people of Kenya, we want to say thank you to the judiciary. We don't know what we would have done because these people were determined. And therefore, we want to assure you of our continued support. And I want to confirm here today that the president, our boss, in his wisdom, has placed the function of coordinating independent offices and constitutional commissions in my office, not for the purpose of interfering with whatever you do, but for the very purpose of providing a facilitative and supportive role to your work by intervening where you need intervention in the Treasury and elsewhere in government, because the President wants the independent institutions to be facilitated and supported. And once we do that, I think we'll be able to have a good country that is managed by respect for the rule of law. For officers and us, under the President, for the avoidance of doubt. Because it's important, sometimes people make mistakes without knowing. I want to confirm to you that the President has directed that this country will be governed through strict compliance to the rule of law. And we want to advise officers that you shouldn't, under any circumstances, obey unlawful orders. And if you decide to obey them, you are on your own. There will be nobody to give you cover. This is a country that will be governed through the rule of law, and strict compliance with the Constitution. And that is the policy direction from our President, and all of us are complying. Without further ado, it is now my privilege and honor to ask you to be upstanding as we invite the President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Samoei Ruto. Mr. President.
Thank you very much, and let's take our seats. Thank you very much. Asante sana. Mr. Deputy President, the Honorable Chief Justice and President of the Supreme Court, Lady Justice Martha Koome, the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, the Deputy Chief Justice, the Attorney General, judicial officers, fellow leaders, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It's my first occasion to be in the judiciary in my new role. I've been here before. And I want to thank the Chief Justice for putting a passionate case for the judiciary. I have listened to all the speakers very carefully, especially the Chief Justice, on what kind of judiciary we must look forward to. You have made a very passionate case on matters, human resource, technology, resources, and when I stood to walk out, I went to check on the toilets and ablution blocks, the one you said, they have been set up outside the premise. And I confirm that indeed we need to do something about our judiciary, especially those of us who are in the other arms of government. It is true, the governor of Nairobi has been on phone with me and the Chief Justice on some of the teething problems that we can sort out just by opening free conversation and consultation between the various arms of government. And I want to thank the Chief Justice for being facilitative of the work of the executive. And in equal measure, we will be facilitative of the judiciary, because in the end, we want to serve the people of Kenya together. It is correct for the governor of Nairobi to work with us, and I have already given firm instructions on digitizing Nairobi and many of the big towns and making sure that we have digital cameras so that we can make it that much more easy for us to move traffic, and traffic cases that constitute a huge percentage of the backlog in our courts should be done in the space that provide for instant fines online so that we can decongest our courts. I agree with you, Governor, and we will work with you in making sure that that happens. I, however, am not too sure about the concept of sharing fines. With those who report, maybe you will need a small note from the Attorney General by way of a legal opinion. But it is with great honor to join you today as you launch the State of the Judiciary Report. The judiciary is a vital component of the Kenyan state and an arm of government which serves as an independent and serves an independent role in the life of our nation with a core mandate of dispensing justice to all, fostering adherence to the rule of law, and respect to human rights and continuous improvement of our good governance. The state of the judiciary, its capacity, performance, achievements, impact, and prospects matter a great deal to all of us. Our commitments, insofar as they relate to the judicial arm of government, are important. We all have a duty to observe the rule of law and to respect the authority of our judicial institution and its officers as a cardinal ingredient of our mandatory commitment in Article 3.1 of the Constitution. The state of the judiciary matters because the government's mandate to ensure stability, enforce law and order, resolve disputes, maintain security, guarantee safety, and promote well-being directly relies on the existence of an effective and efficient legal system. The workings of our judicial system demonstrates the extent to which individual welfare, economic efficiency, state capacity, and fundamental rights are intertwined. If you care about the economy or national security or constitutional rights or how individual citizens fare, you must care about the state of our judiciary. At the inauguration of our administration, I stated our commitment to do our part in consolidating the role of the judiciary in our constitutional and democratic order and in cementing Kenya's place as a country guided by democratic ideals and the rule of law. I noted the importance of implementing the Judiciary Fund to secure the financial autonomy of the judiciary, thus securing its operational independence. We also commit to enhance the budgetary allocation to the judiciary annually to support the bottom-up delivery of justice by increasing the number of small claims courts, establishing high court stations in the remaining 7 counties, setting up magistrates' courts in 123 sub-counties, and supporting the judiciary's digitization program, which was displayed to us this morning, and it is doing a great job. The intended objective of these interventions is the expeditious adjudication of cases and the expansion of access to justice. It is important to note that these interventions will be complemented by other measures across the entire spectrum of the judicial chain, including the enhancement of autonomy and professionalism of our police service. It is worth expounding on the broader context behind these interventions. Our administration was elected on a platform to pursue certain interlocking agendas. Primarily, the bottom-up approach is in pursuit of socio-economic transformation to achieve shared prosperity, where no one is left behind. To do this, we recognize the cardinal objective of citizen well-being at the front and center of our immediate, medium-term, and long-term policy programs and projects. This being the case, it is inevitable that our program of action aligns with the implementation of measures that are necessary to attain socio-economic rights set out in Article 43 of the Constitution. We see the nation to be greater than the sum of its individual citizens. Its stature and might, therefore, consist of the aggregate happiness of the people which constitute it. We conceive this nation's prosperity to consist of the achievement of well-being, citizen by citizen. Well-being considerably depends on the existence of meaningful opportunities for citizens to realize their aspirations. It is our manifest commitment to facilitate access to these opportunities by ordinary citizens on a rapidly increasing scale. We intend to begin with deliberate programs to create millions of jobs in agriculture, manufacturing, housing, and within the micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises level. These are the two limbs of our bottom-up model of economic transformation: scaling up from the individual to the nation, and from the little hustles to the commanding heights of our economic system. The duty of government to its citizens is to open doors of opportunity on one hand and to protect freedoms and rights on the other. Opportunity lies in vibrant, diverse, competitive, and dynamic economy, whose efficiency is guaranteed by a credible system of enforcing contracts and securing property rights. However, whichever way one approaches the matter, a robust, independent, and effective judiciary, which inspires the confidence of all citizens, lies at the heart of national socio-economic transformation. This is why the state of the judiciary matters to everyone in Kenya. It is encouraging to note the extent of alignment between the executive and the judiciary as reflected in the State of the Judiciary Report. I say this in full awareness of the dictates of separation of powers and the unique constitutional autonomy of the judiciary in the triangular relationship among the traditional arms of government. Nevertheless, from our distinct and separate domains, we can use the Constitution as our compass to navigate our way through our respective functions to attain the highest standards of living for all Kenyans. This is precisely what is captured in the Kenya Kwanza plan, and that is the bottom-up transformation agenda on one hand, and the strategic vision of the judiciary on the other, and that is social transformation through access to justice. Both documents explicitly set out the realization of the promise of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. They championed the inclusion of the traditionally excluded and historically marginalized sectors of our society. Each document also prioritizes the millions at the bottom of the socio-economic and political pyramid as the foundation of sustainable transformation. Furthermore, we are united in the knowledge that an accessible, efficient, and impartial judicial system facilitates shared economic development that meaningfully includes the needy, most vulnerable, and marginalized segments of our society. We also recognize that the efficiency of the judicial system in the resolution of commercial disputes and securing property rights is key to making Kenya a destination of choice for investors. The government, therefore, will support the judiciary to attain efficiency in its operations so that it can effectively contribute to the attraction and retention of foreign and domestic investments. The judiciary's stated aim to tackle systemic formal as well as informal barriers to access to justice resonates quite strongly with our administration's objective to provide access to public platforms and processes for previously excluded or underserved groups. I am satisfied that this model of delivering justice from the bottom up underpins citizen well-being and complements it with the opportunities for self-actualization created by stronger economic performance and higher investment confidence. The socio-economic transformation through access to justice is a program that is responsive to the gaps in the judicial system, ensuring that possibilities become a reality by virtue of decisive measures to develop a high-quality, accessible, efficient, expeditious, and cost-effective judiciary. Such a people-centered approach aligns admirably with our broader transformation agenda. I have noted from the State of the Judiciary report that the judiciary has made progress in delivering value for taxpayers' investments in establishing critical infrastructure and achieving significant improvement in resolving disputes. For example, the small claims courts cohort of the judicature, now comprising 11 courts, disposed of 9,315 cases, unlocking 1.4 billion that had been held up in disputes. The first specialized sexual and gender-based violence court was inaugurated in Shanzu in Mombasa, and the political parties disputes tribunal was decentralized to 7 regions. It is highly commendable that apart from setting up premises for High Court, Land and Environment Court, and Magistrates Courts across the country, the judiciary has also complemented these developments with ICT capabilities. Various judicial procedures have been simplified and disseminated to standardize service delivery. The case tracking system has gone a long way in reducing the burden of manual performance of various important judicial tasks. Collaboration with technology companies, particularly Google Africa, has enhanced internet connectivity to support virtual court proceedings across the country. From the slow, manual, cumbersome, and vulnerable judiciary of recent years, we are now witnessing the rapid evolution of a judicial system that is smart, connected, digitized, automated, and efficient. Steadily, the judiciary is getting ready for the challenges that lie ahead and shaping up as a fit-for-purpose vehicle for delivery of justice. It is no surprise, then, that the number of cases filed or pending as compared to those concluded on an annual basis provide an encouraging report. The judiciary now has better capacity to measure its own performance and capture all aspects of service delivery in accurate statistics. Cases are being concluded faster, and the number of matters stayed in the courts is declining. The decline in overall backlog rate, despite the rise in numbers of new cases, points to enhanced efficiency. This is also encouraging. A direct effect of this performance enhancement is that judicial officers have been liberated from the tedious, inefficient, and manual labor, freeing them to perform their core function, and that is the production of robust jurisprudence that breathes life into our constitutional and legal dispensation. The State of the Judiciary report also includes numerous instances of jurisprudence that involve the invalidation of executive measures. All I can say is that we will strive to live up to our commitment to work within the Constitution and avoid running afoul with our courts. As I give this assurance, I am alive to the fact that the judiciary has mechanisms to achieve accountability for the exercise of judicial power and for public resources entrusted to it. The outputs of the Judicial Ombudsman are tremendously enlightening. Particularly noteworthy is that beyond resolving complaints, the mechanisms investigates root causes to minimize recurrence. And I want to encourage Madam Chief Justice and the judicial system to improve on the Judicial Ombudsman's performance. The public and the other arms of government expect the judiciary to perform its duty with integrity. And it's my expectation, because judicial power and independence comes with huge responsibility. And huge responsibility comes with a good measure of accountability. And that is why, to be able to exercise judicial power and independence effectively, responsibility and accountability must come with it. And I want to work with the judiciary, to support the judiciary, so that we can have an accountable and responsive judicial system. Integrity assurance and corruption prevention are essential pillars of remedial and corrective action. Likewise, the judiciary's performance management enhances staff accountability and guarantees service delivery to a high professional standard with assurance of continued improvement. Enforcement of Judicial Service Commission's Code of Conduct also forms part of the performance management and integrity assurance framework. And together, they provide the basis for internal audits that are used to measure and improve performance in the judiciary. I have noted all these impressive achievements for two principal reasons. First, the high standard and consistent improvement was achieved in spite of the judiciary's staff establishment falling far below its requirement. Currently, the judiciary has 6,182 employees. To operate optimally, the report states that the judiciary requires 9,417 employees, 348 judges, 1,200 judicial officers, and 650 law clerks and legal researchers, and 7,219 judicial staff. Secondly, the impressive performance was achieved on a budgetary allocation which stood at 0.6% of the national budget. Without a doubt, the low budgetary allocation has affected critical projects and activities. It is with this in mind that I gave the undertaking, and which I repeat, to enhance annual allocation to the judiciary for the next 5 years in an effort to mitigate the opportunity cost of accrued shortfalls. And since we have the other arms of government represented here, we have committed to increase the budgetary allocation to the judiciary by 3 billion shillings every year to make sure that we build the necessary infrastructure, hire the requisite numbers of staff, and build ICT capabilities to enable our judiciary deliver on its mandate. I congratulate the Chief Justice and the entire judicial service for doing a good job against serious constraints. We do not take for granted your admirable effort to raise the standard of output amid such tremendous challenges. I believe that I have demonstrated sufficient commitment to provide confidence that we in the executive shall do our part to support the judiciary in delivery of its mandate. I applaud the judiciary's overall performance and its consistency in retaining public trust. We acknowledge that there are gaps, of course, but we also recognize that there is demonstrable opportunity, capacity, and commitment to bridge them to the satisfaction of all citizens. I pledge our support to your vision of social transformation through access to justice because it is our duty to do so, because we are aligned in our transformational agenda, and because we share a citizen-centric, bottom-up delivery model focused on individual and collective well-being of all the citizens of Kenya. For the avoidance of doubt, I reiterate my commitment and that of the government of Kenya to live up to our pledge to the people of Kenya that we intend to empower the judiciary and the criminal justice system as required by the Constitution, as well as respect the decisions and orders of the courts as they relate to the executive. Expect no more or no less. And even as we commit to the independence of the judiciary and to support the judiciary, give it financial independence, we do the same for all the other independent institutions. I did commit that we will do the same for our police service because we believe that a professional police service will do the job. I have already established an independent budget and appointed an independent accounting officer for the police service so that they can discharge their mandate without reference to any other office or any other institution, as is required of us by law. I am a great believer, and I will work with all the arms of government in building our institutions and respecting those institutions. We will build the judiciary and respect the judiciary. We will build all the other institutions, including the police and other institutions, and support them and respect them. We cannot, at the same time, be bringing down our institutions and expecting them to work for us. We must collectively, as a country, work towards building all the institutions set up by the Constitution as the guarantee for the country being built on the solid foundation of the rule of law and respect for the Constitution. Any other attempt to build this nation on the basis of individuals and personalities will lead to monumental failure. As we build, and I want to commit that we will support our security agencies to take up their mandate and protect and safeguard the sovereignty and the security of our country. And we will work with them to eliminate groups and sections that work against the Constitution and the law. I am very clear in my mind that we do not need the advice from the Scotland Yard to be able to remove and disband the murderous units in our police force. We didn't need any advice from nowhere. We just needed to respect our Constitution and do the right thing. I am very clear in my mind that supporting our professional police force will guarantee the lives of every Kenyan and the security of our property, and we will get rid of the menace of extrajudicial killings. We certainly don't need the support of institutions built by others, we can build our own institutions. Even those other institutions that we celebrate, be they the Scotland Yard or the FBI, they were built by countries who respect the rule of law and who believe in institutions. We should believe in ours. We should support our police force. We should support the Independent Police Oversight Authority. We should build our institutions. They will guarantee our security and they will guarantee our democracy. And that is what I believe in. Let me also say, for the record, because I hear our friends and brothers from the opposition trying to propose to us that we should denigrate our own institutions and work with the institutions of others, that we are much more sure of building our own institutions. And secondly, let me also say, for the avoidance of doubt, that as we commit additional resources and financial independence of all our independent institutions, the judiciary, the police, and all the other institutions, we must all work collectively towards making sure that we have savings and we collect revenues that will support our development. I want to ask the judiciary to work with us and not to provide any safe haven for the people running away from paying tax. They should not find refuge in the judiciary. They should not find refuge in judicial orders. We want every citizen to carry their portion of the burden of running the affairs of our country. That is the request I am making to the judiciary, as I do to the legislature, that we must all work towards sealing the loopholes of pilferage and leakage in our revenue collection. I think it is important for us to note that as a percentage of GDP, we are collecting 14% of our GDP. Our neighbors are collecting 25% of our GDP. So we are lagging behind. And that is why we have shortage of resources to run our development program. Our friends in the opposition are telling us that we should continue to borrow and we should not raise our savings. I want to say, for the avoidance of doubt and on record, that already we have had conversations with the Central Organization of Trade Unions. We have consultations with the Federation of Kenya Employers, and we have all agreed, except the people in the opposition, that it is necessary to increase our contributions on savings from 200 shillings to 6% of our salaries. Our brothers and sisters in the opposition should wake up to this reality and smell the coffee. Kenyans are moving on. We want to raise our savings because at the moment we are between 10 and 12% of GDP in terms of savings. We can scale that up to between 30 and 40% of our GDP. That is the surest foundation of running our development program, not merely thinking that you can go on a borrowing spree. In any case, the money you go to borrow is the savings of others, and you have to pay through the nose if you have to borrow. So we have, everybody's job has been cut out, and we will continue to have this conversation because we are a democratic nation. Finally, and once again, I congratulate the judiciary on the commendable progress made in delivering your solemn constitutional mandate, and wish all of you God's blessings as you proceed on the journey to transformational success. Thank you, and may God bless you. Asanteni sana.
Ladies and gentlemen, may we all be upstanding for the national anthem and the lowering of the mace.